Drama is exploding backstage on WWE Raw. Finn Bálor reportedly showed major disrespect to Liv Morgan in a heated backstage confrontation that has the entire wrestling world talking. This isn't just locker room tension, this could reshape alliances, destroy friendships, and create one of the most compelling storylines of 2026. Let's break down everything that happened. Welcome back to Suplex Rumble, the home of in-depth wrestling analysis and breaking news. I'm your host, and if you're not already subscribed, hit that button right now because backstage drama like this is what creates the best wrestling storylines, and you don't want to miss a single update. Alright, wrestling family, let's dive into what reportedly went down backstage on Monday Night Raw, because this situation is layered and has so many potential implications for both superstars involved. According to reports from the show and social media reactions from fans in attendance, there was a backstage segment that aired during Raw featuring Finn Bálor and Liv Morgan. Now, without showing you the actual footage, because we respect copyright and intellectual property here at Suplex Rumble, let me walk you through what allegedly transpired based on eyewitness accounts and the wrestling community's response. The segment reportedly took place in one of those classic backstage interview areas. Liv Morgan, the former women's world champion and one of the most popular female superstars on the roster, was apparently either being interviewed or was in the middle of a backstage segment when Finn Bálor entered the scene. Now here's where things get interesting and controversial. According to multiple reports, Finn Bálor the Prince, the leader of the Judgment Day for a significant period, a former Universal Champion, and one of the most accomplished wrestlers in WWE, allegedly interrupted Liv's moment and showed what many fans are calling blatant disrespect. The nature of this disrespect is being described in various ways. Some reports suggest Finn dismissed what Liv was saying, essentially treating her words or her presence as unimportant. Other accounts indicate he may have made comments that belittled her accomplishments or her position in WWE. Some fans are even saying his body language and demeanor were condescending, showing a lack of respect that you simply don't show to a fellow professional, let alone a former world champion. What makes this particularly shocking is the context. Finn Bálor and Liv Morgan have both been associated with the Judgment Day faction. They've been on the same page, or at least in the same orbit, for significant periods. There's history there, there's familiarity there, which makes this alleged disrespect even more cutting and personal. The wrestling community's reaction has been immediate and intense. Social media exploded with fans expressing shock, anger, and fascination at this development. Some fans are defending Liv and calling out Finn's behavior. Others are analyzing this as a brilliant character work and storytelling. And everyone is asking the same question: where does this go from here? To fully appreciate why this moment is so significant, we need to understand who these two superstars are, what they represent, and why this interaction matters so much to the WWE landscape. Let's start with Finn Bálor, the Prince himself. This man is a legend in professional wrestling. Before he ever stepped foot in a WWE ring, Finn was revolutionizing wrestling as Prince Devitt in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was a founding member of the Bullet Club, one of the most influential factions in modern wrestling history. He brought an international credibility and in-ring excellence that changed the game. When Finn arrived in WWE and NXT, he immediately became the guy. He was the first ever NXT Universal Champion, NXT Champion, and he brought a level of prestige to that title that still resonates today. Then on the main roster, he became the first Universal Champion, defeating Seth Rollins at SummerSlam in one of the most emotional title victories in recent memory. But here's what's important about Finn's character evolution: he's gone from the heroic underdog demon to a more calculating, sometimes arrogant leader. His time with the Judgment Day showcased a different side of Finn, someone willing to manipulate, to strategize, and yes, to show a more ruthless edge. So when we see reports of him disrespecting someone, it fits this evolved character. Now let's talk about Liv Morgan, and let me be very clear about something: Liv Morgan is one of the most inspiring stories in all of WWE. This woman started from the bottom of the card, worked as enhancement talent, struggled to find her footing, and through sheer determination, incredible character work, and continuously improving in-ring skills, she became women's world champion. Liv's journey resonates with fans because it's real. She wasn't handed anything. She wasn't brought in as a ready-made star. She earned every single opportunity through years of hard work, taking bumps, learning her craft, and never giving up on her dream. When Liv finally captured that Women's World Championship, it was a culmination of years of dedication. Her character work has been phenomenal. From the underdog babyface to the more confident, sometimes edgy character she's portrayed recently, Liv has shown incredible range. She connects with the audience on an emotional level because fans have watched her grow and evolve. They've invested in her journey. And here's something crucial: Liv Morgan is over with the WWE Universe. When her music hits, the crowd reacts. She moves merchandise, she has a dedicated fan base, and she represents something important: the idea that if you work hard enough and believe in yourself, you can achieve your dreams in WWE. So when you have these two established stars, Finn Bálor with his international credibility and championship pedigree, and Liv Morgan with her incredible underdog story and championship success, and you create tension between them, you're not just doing a throwaway segment. You're creating something that fans are invested in because they care about both people involved. Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, the Judgment Day. Because this backstage disrespect doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's connected to one of the most successful factions in recent WWE history, and that connection makes everything more complicated and more interesting. The Judgment Day started as Edge's faction, but it evolved into something entirely different. When Finn Bálor took over leadership, the group became a dominant force on Monday Night Raw. We had Finn, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, and Dominic Mysterio running roughshod over the brand, collecting championships, and establishing themselves as the faction to beat. Liv Morgan's involvement with the Judgment Day has been one of the most talked about storylines in recent memory. The complexity of her relationship with the group, particularly with Dominic Mysterio and the tension with Rhea Ripley, created some of the most compelling television WWE has produced. It was messy, it was dramatic, it was perfect wrestling storytelling. But here's where things get fascinating from a storyline perspective. Factions are built on loyalty, on trust, on having each other's backs. But they're also breeding grounds for betrayal, for egos clashing, and for internal power struggles. Wrestling history is filled with factions that imploded from within: The Shield, Evolution, the Four Horsemen, DX, and countless others. If Finn Bálor is showing disrespect to Liv Morgan, what does that say about the current state of the Judgment Day? Are there fractures forming? Is Finn asserting dominance in a way that's pushing people away? Is this the beginning of a larger schism within the group that could lead to an all-out war? Think about the dynamics at play here. You have Damian Priest, who's been Finn's right-hand man but has also shown he can be his own leader. You have Dominic Mysterio, whose complicated history with Liv creates another layer of tension. And you have the specter of Rhea Ripley, who's had her own intense rivalry with Liv. Every relationship within and around this faction is complicated. The beauty of this kind of storytelling is that it creates multiple possible directions. Maybe Liv stands up to Finn and earns his respect through confrontation. Maybe this disrespect is the catalyst for Liv to finally break away completely and forge her own path. Maybe other members of the Judgment Day see Finn's behavior and start questioning whether he's the leader they want to follow. Or, and this is where it gets really interesting, maybe this is all part of a larger plan. Maybe Finn and Liv are working together to create chaos, to make everyone think there's dissension when really they're playing 4D chess. In wrestling, you can never be 100% sure what's real conflict and what's strategic manipulation. What we do know is that WWE has struck gold with Judgment Day storylines. The faction has been featured prominently, has produced compelling television week after week, and has elevated everyone involved. So when you introduce conflict and drama into that mix, you're adding fuel to an already successful fire. Now, I want to take a moment to address something important about this situation, because it touches on broader themes in professional wrestling that matter to all of us who love this business. The reported disrespect from Finn Bálor toward Liv Morgan raises questions about how male and female superstars interact on WWE programming, and how WWE presents those interactions. This is something the company has navigated with varying degrees of success over the years, and it's worth examining thoughtfully. Modern WWE has made significant strides in how they present their female superstars. The women's division is no longer an afterthought, it's a main event attraction. We've seen women main event WrestleMania, headline pay-per-views, and consistently deliver some of the best matches on any given show. The term women's revolution gets thrown around a lot, but there's genuine truth to the evolution that's occurred. When you have a male superstar disrespecting a female superstar in a backstage segment, WWE is walking a fine line. Done correctly, it creates heel heat and makes the male character look arrogant and worthy of comeuppance. It creates a story where the female superstar can stand up for herself, prove her worth, and maybe even get physical revenge that the audience pops for. Done incorrectly, it can come across as tone-deaf or regressive, suggesting that female superstars aren't on the same level as their male counterparts. That's not the message WWE wants to send, and based on how they've been booking their women's division, I don't think that's the intent here. What makes this particular situation interesting is that both Finn and Liv are established champions with legitimate credentials. Finn can't claim superiority based on accomplishments because Liv has been a world champion too. She's headlined shows, she's carried storylines, she's proven herself. So if he's showing disrespect, it's not based on reality, it's based on arrogance, which makes him a heel. From a storytelling perspective, this creates an opportunity for Liv to showcase her strength, not just physically but in terms of character. How does she respond to this disrespect? Does she let it slide? Does she confront Finn directly? Does she seek revenge in the ring? The response is just as important as the initial incident. And here's something I really appreciate about modern WWE, they're increasingly allowing their female superstars to hold their own in confrontations with male superstars without it becoming weird or problematic. Women can cut promos against men, they can stand up for themselves, they can be portrayed as equals who happen to compete in different divisions. That's the kind of representation that makes sense. This situation with Finn and Liv could actually be a positive example if it's booked correctly. If Liv responds with fire, demands respect, and is portrayed as someone who won't tolerate being treated as lesser than, that sends a powerful message to the audience. It says that respect in WWE is earned through accomplishments and character, not determined by gender. So the question everyone's asking is, where does this story go from here? And let me tell you, the possibilities are endless and exciting. Scenario 1: The direct confrontation. Liv Morgan isn't someone who backs down from conflict. Her entire character is built on fighting for what she believes in. We could see her confront Finn Bálor face-to-face next week on Raw, demanding the respect she's earned. Imagine the promo battle between these two. Both are capable of delivering emotional, compelling promos, and a verbal showdown could be incredible television. Scenario 2: The faction fracture. Maybe this disrespect is the breaking point for the Judgment Day. Perhaps Damian Priest or other members see Finn's behavior and realize he's become too arrogant, too disrespectful, too drunk on his own power. This could lead to a civil war within the faction, with different members taking different sides. Faction warfare is always compelling. Scenario 3: The ally emerges. Maybe someone from the locker room, male or female, sees what happened and decides to stand with Liv against Finn's disrespect. This could create an alliance we haven't seen before, bringing together superstars who might not normally align but are united by a common cause. That's how you build fresh matchups and unexpected partnerships. Scenario 4: The championship collision. What if this tension somehow leads to both Finn and Liv being involved in championship scenarios where they need to coexist or compete? Maybe a mixed tag team match? Maybe they both have title defenses on the same show and their mutual disdain creates chaos that affects both matches? The possibilities for creative booking are limitless. Scenario 5: The long game. WWE loves slow burn storytelling, especially with the Judgment Day-related plots. Maybe this is just the first domino falling in a much larger story that plays out over months. The disrespect could be a seed that grows into something massive by the time we reach SummerSlam or even next year's WrestleMania. From a fan engagement perspective, this storyline is already working. People are talking about it, debating it, sharing their opinions on social media. That's exactly what WWE wants. Controversy creates conversation creates investment, and investment creates viewers who tune in every week to see what happens next. The beauty of professional wrestling is that it can address real emotions and real social dynamics through the lens of larger-than-life characters and storylines. If WWE uses this Finn Liv situation